And
A valid concern.
yeah. So even intra-party, the tyranny of the majority needs to have a balance.
Well, it's just like during COVID, when they stripped the governor of his power to, and it passed. They took his power away because he overreached. That's the same part. I mean, you have to have checks and balances.
I contacted everybody that I knew that day when he canceled the primary.
That was
The day
wrong.
before. I called everybody I knew. And
To me, no, whether you like David White or not, but that primary was wrong to him. And that, no, I don't mind Jamie, sure, I'm friends with him. But when he canceled that primary, that took everybody's chance of on that day voting, winning. It all came up to people voting beforehand. And it took away the rights to anybody to vote on the primary. That was wrong.
yeah, it is wrong.
It doesn't matter if he'd have won or lost, and things work out for a reason, but that was absolutely wrong. To cancel a primary, taking away people's right to vote. And I think it's unconstitutional. That really sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah, that was the beginning of a great cascade of government ineptitude.
It's just like my friends on state highway patrol, and they were telling people to stop them on the interstate, pull them over without just cause. We're not doing that. We're not illegally stopping vehicles. And the head of the highway patrol said, "Do not illegally stop people."
Of course not.
He can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
And they refused to. And like, we're not making illegal stops. It was very fascinating. And the police stood up and said, "No, that's wrong."
You have to have a probable cause.
Yes. It's like curfews. You can just arbitrarily make a curfew for people. And I work a night shift, no, that doesn't work. You can arbitrarily pull somebody over without, and they
You have to have
refuse.
probable cause, absolutely. driving the Toyota, David?
Yeah, the white one over there.
Yeah, that's gotta be irritating to have the paint chipping off your bumper.
Oh, it's a 2004.
Bad year for paint.
No, bad year for 235,000 mile car. You know,
I'm driving an '01, but it hasn't got 200,000 miles on it yet.
yeah.
That's a new father.
Well, I've been holding up. We've been talking about maybe taking it up and seeing if somebody can paint it. My bumper is really, it's lost a couple of those clips on the inside.
Oh, that's not hard to fix.
And so like, it's held on now with baling wire.
I understand that too.
So I mean, the bumper's gotta go entirely, but I mean.
We've got some
But I
very,
mean, I've got new tires, I have a new alternator,
Yeah.
new starter, you know, just about everything that could be new inside, new belts, you know. So I figure it's good for around 230,000.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Toyotas and the Hondas have such great
Yeah.
durability.
No, I
We've got
pretty-
some really good body shops here in
Yeah.
town. The guys, Quality
Where's this
Collision over on the other side of Green Street.
Oh, yes, yes.
Awesome,
That's
very
right,
good
that's,
folks.
that's where I took my Prius when I had a fender bender.
Yeah,
Well, I created the fender bender, I was trying to go down Maple Street
yeah,
on Hummer Hill.
yeah.
And didn't take into account that at the time I was going at 7:30 in the morning, the sun would be right in my eyes.
Oh, no.
And I'm going like this and trying to turn, and I turned right into the wall.
Yeah.
Some poor woman comes running out of her house saying, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" She said, "I thought you were gonna go over the wall." And I said, "I didn't even see the wall," but I
No.
did a nice number, about $2,000 worth of damage.
Yeah,
But I took them to them. I've been to them several times. They're good.
yes, they are.
And they're the most reasonable around here.
They're real good.
They were
Olin's Body
They
Shop
were
is,
$3,500 cheaper than taking it to Toyota.
oh, I don't doubt that at all.
And they're about $800 cheaper than taking, what's that, Rec Me or whatever it is over in Williamstown,
Car wrecks.
something Rec,
Car wrecks.
huh?
Car wrecks.
Car Rec, yeah. They're about $800 cheaper than them.
Hmm.
But I've heard good things about Car Rec too. So,
The fellow who bought Olin's Body Shop there on Green Street has a different, well, I guess it's not that different, but the people who work in the shop on consignment.
mhm.
So you bring them in and into Quality or in Olin's, and the guys working in the back are on consignment to do the work. So you've got better potential for a good deal than you do with like the dealer. Because there's
Yeah.
not a consignment issue there. That's just set by the company.
Yeah. But I'm looking at taking it back. I have a Prius, but I'm unloading the Prius because it's crap.
Mhm.
It's a 2007, and it needs to run 25 miles a day to recharge the battery. And I'm teaching at Merritt College, so my whole day is 12 miles round trip.
Yeah, exactly. How's that supposed to happen?
When I was teaching at West Virginia Parkersburg, there was
Yeah,
no problem.
no problem
You know,
there.
but as soon as I got there,
Yeah.
I'd bring the hot car home on Friday. I wouldn't do anything or go anywhere for the weekend. I come out Monday to go and the thing just doesn't start.
Yeah.
And I gotta jump it.
Yeah.
And now I'm at
It's
the
probably
point where-
worse in the wintertime.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
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 And the other thing they had is that the seal on the hatchback,
Mhm.
the rubber seal
Mhm.
is flawed because what happens when the rain comes down,
Oh,
it
yeah.
goes down the rubber seal and it goes down and drips inside the car.
Yep.
And what it drips into is the area where the battery is being held.
Brilliant design.
So, you know, I couldn't figure out why my car wouldn't start. You know, this was a year ago.
Yeah.
And when we had one of those 5-degree days type of things, it's a weekend like that, and I couldn't get it to start, okay, and so I had towed in, and when they got there, they said, well, he says, your battery is really in a block of ice. So they had to take the battery out, they had to take a torch and melt it, And then they sit there and drilled a hole in the bottom so it could all pour out. And then they came out and showed me, and they had like, maybe a gallon and a half of water
Uh-huh.
in what they poured out. And they said, we can't, this will happen, but now you have some at the bottom, so that water's gonna drain out.
Yeah, well, except for the water that's gonna come back up from the road.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but,
Oh,
yeah, I mean,
That's some
I
engineering marvels there.
I got 50+ miles when I was driving it back and forth to
Sure.
WVU, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm putting 75 miles a week on it, going back and forth. Yeah, that's charging it, but when I start taking in the gas, what West Virginia University at Parkersburg is paying me is 1/3 what Marion College pays me.
Yeah.
For the same amount of courses.
Mhm.
So I just opted to Marion College and told them I was now available for another course. Because at that time I took 2,
Yeah.
and I had 2 at WVP, and it was hard to schedule. Because I had to take Monday, Wednesday, Friday at WVP, and Tuesdays and Thursdays at Marion College.
Yeah.
And then I just said, I'm not there anymore, so if you have another class you want to give me, and they have, I got 3 there.
I know they were looking for somebody in the leadership
Yes,
track.
they're looking for leadership track. Yeah.
Please get seated.
And we're already live on YouTube. Karen had to go ahead and start it.
Oh, no, that's fine. I know our,
Karen stopped recording while we were talking here in the background.
Willie doesn't like it.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Willie.
He does watch TV.
oh, here we go.
Willie. Yep, so we're. Willie. Willie.
You like TV?
I hear somebody growling.
Here. I would your room.
My growl's louder than yours. All right, Willie.
I'm going to knock you out if you're going to do that.
You're gonna end up in the cage, Willie. if you're not careful.
Really? I'll put you out in the car. Here, go play with that.
What's up?
Oh,
No.
hopefully not the price of
I'm gonna put you out the
gasoline.
car.
Oh, goodness.
We're going to the car. Come on, buddy, come on.
Yeah. I only have so many bends left in my knees, so I know we're gonna stand for the pledge here after Robin gets.
So many bends left of that?
Yeah, when, every time I tried a case, whether it was federal court, state court, I would go home and my legs would ache
Yeah.
ferociously. And after a while, I discovered that during a trial, I sat in only about the front third
Mm-hmm.
of the chair. Because especially in federal court, you have to leap up because one of the judges would not allow you to speak until he pointed.
Ah,
So you were alerting him, and so you had to get up and button your coat.
oh,
And then he might sit you back down. And
or allow you
didn't
to
want to
make
hear
your
what you
objection.
were objecting to.
care about the live
So anyway,
It says live up there.
that just,
Yeah.
so that's why I say I only have so
Thanks,
many
Joseph.
bends left. Jumping up and down. Okay, are we on the record?
Be on there.
Excellent. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome to our February 7, 2023 meeting of the Washington County Board of Elections. I know we're getting just a slightly late start. We have a lot of stuff to look at. And we had minutes and so forth that were sent, and we noticed that when they were sent to us, one of them got duplicated, so had to get the other one out. and so forth, and we have the public present. I know we may have a couple of candidates, and one of our most expert members of our both setup crew and assistance crew and so forth. So is there anyone from the public that, if you're here for a specific thing, we'll get to you in just a minute, but if you just had general comments that you wanted to make.
Jeremy Martin. I just had a couple concerns. I was notified last night, or just a couple of my customers. I'm a barber on Front Street. And I just had a couple questions about the mayor's race in Marietta. I was informed that someone that petitioned to run for mayor is not actually a resident of the city. They pay taxes in the city, but they're not a resident. And I just wanted to know, what is the procedure of investigation into that to see if somebody's a valid candidate for the office? Because if I pay taxes in the city, I'd love to run for city council, but I'm not allowed. And I just don't think that'd be fair if I can't run for office and somebody else does.
Right.
I just want to know what the procedure and investigative process is to make sure someone's a valid candidate for a position in the city, whether their names are correct or their residency. This big issue is residency.
Right, understood. Okay.
Maybe we.
Should we
take up
tell them that?
petitions first.
Yeah, we
Because
can.
if the certification process results in a certification of the person that you're talking about, then we can talk about the
Right.
process for.
Yeah, because one of
But
the
if they
things we
don't-
first are going to look at is, do you have enough signatures? Is the petition regular on its face? And so forth. And then if a citizen has a concern, the law says that if you're going to file an objection or, it has to be specific in writing, setting out, the facts or whatever, you would say,
Yeah.
this is the problem. Now, of course, you only get to that once we have said that from our perspective, it meets all the requirements of Ohio law and so forth. So when we get a petition in, we're going to look at it, and our staff is going through, they're checking signatures and so forth, and addresses, and just all of the detail that they go through, and they make a report to us, and that's going to be part of our procedure today, and so forth. And there are some things that are just absolutely, this is the law and this is what it is, and then there are things that, I guess we could call them the oops of life and so forth. And it may be that they're substantially complied with, even though there was one part that's an oops, and so we'll get into all of those as we go through it. So that's going to be the process we're going to do right today.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, it was just that and the legal name. Don't you have to have your full legal name on a petition when you go
Well,
out?
once again,
That's one of those
we're
things.
going to look at that. There are all kind of requirements with regard to names and so forth. And so we're going to what amounts to make a record. That's why this is recorded, minutes, et cetera. We offer this to the public, both where you are in person or you could Zoom in, et cetera. There are only three of us, not that we can't act, we can act with three. Mr. Wentz could not be with us today. He may be participating. I don't know if he is Zoomed in or not. But again, he can't participate because Ohio law requires that you be present to participate. There was a time during COVID where there was that was excused because, everywhere in Ohio, we weren't meeting with everybody getting ill and so forth. So we're past that. So that's what we're going to do. Typically, and I think we probably ought to at least stay in a little bit of order. So you're going to have to hang around just a moment. I'd like to at
We'll
least,
get to your question.
yeah, can we approve the minutes and then look at our bills? Because then there's no correspondence and we'll be right into the petition verification's the first order of business.
Did you bring your receipts? We'll skip you off the bills then.
But anyway, we had 3 December 15, 20, and 11 minutes that were sent out. Although I noticed that December 20, for lack of any other way of putting it, is identical to the 11th.
That's what I was just saying.
Yeah,
I'll have Melissa look at those.
Yeah, so the only one I really think we want to look at is the 15th.
You can look at it now, yeah. Yeah, the 11th and the 20th are down.
Yeah. And I know what it is, but I'd rather have the other one.
Yeah.
You know, because that was the December 20 was that vote on the budget, if you recall.
Right, well, it's right here,
Yeah, and it's noted in the
but I don't know,
15.
what did we do in January? We set this meeting, we talked about this meeting.
Yeah, well, we got together
Yeah,
because we were going to travel to Columbus.
right, that's right.
Yeah. And then we had some petitions we looked at.
We did.
And then there was the issue, we had to approve the county budgeting process from the
But I think
standpoint of the raise.
didn't we do that in December?
I'm not sure that we did the raise.
Well, yeah, we did.
Did we do?
Yeah,
that?
I moved to accept the raises and Charlie seconded the motion carried.
Okay, you think so?
Yep, that's what it says.
Well, no, I know what it says, but it's.
Oh, you think that was the January meeting?
Well, after
no,
the,
because the budget
No.
has to be set before January 1. so-
Right,
so it could be the 11th then is among the missing.
that's the duplicate.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, let's take care of the 15th.
I'll move to approve the minutes for December 15, 2022.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes. I'll go ahead and sign mine, send it on down.
All right, we looked at where they were saved, and they're both dates have the same one on there, but these are the minutes from the January.
January, yeah, we
Yeah.
kind of figured.
Yeah.
So we have a January one dated.
So we just won't have the ones for the December 20th.
Right,
All right, so this one is,
right. So do I have a motion to approve January 11?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes. And again, I'll sign mine. Send it on down. All right. Bills, conference.
Yeah, so the only one, I had Kitty Lynn's on there, but we don't have hers yet, so.
Okay.
Which there's no amount, so.
Right. Then we have our contract with Pointers.
And that's for the copier.
Right. And then we had our letters with Triad.
Mhm.
And then, I think you were mentioning, perhaps when I was just chatting with you, we had to move cameras around and so forth because when they put the cage in,
It pretty much blocked, I mean, you could see some, but it pretty much blocked the camera that was existing. So we moved it into the cage, so you can now see in there, and we added another one to make sure you can get the door.
Right.
If you guys wanna look at that when you leave, check it out.
and just for the general public, one of the things we've had to do is our equipment is been behind a double locked door. Just about everything in the Board of Elections are double locked. There's an R key and a D key, and you have to have both of them to get in. So, you know, so anyway, we have a lot of computer equipment because we're separated from the rest of the world. You know, and as a result, we're now separated even more because our servers now have this brand-new system that's locked up, and it's in that room. And in addition, all of our computers that speak to elections are inside now a double-locked cage. I mean, truly a cage, top, sides, the whole 9 yards, and so forth. So you have to have a double key to get into those. So you get in the door, get you nowhere. You're in a room, but you now have to have another set of keys, double lock. And so that's the whole process. And to get further protection, we have cameras that film all of it and so forth. And we have cameras that are outside. And part of this was done as a result of the Homeland Security studies, as well as the Secretary of State studies, and then our own. And so we just continue to kind of go through that whole process and so forth about should we have something here or something there. And then we have another whole section that's secured with double keys in the back where we keep equipment. So you can't get to that unless you have an R&D. And again, that's just also to assure the public that it's essentially, it's impossible to tamper with our equipment or with the ballots during the process, before the process, during the process, or after the process, because we just keep it all locked up. All right, do I have a motion to approve the bills?
So move.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Very good. And so that brings us, Mandy, to
Yep, to
your
the
part.
petitions, and Mr. Grandy is here, so I don't know if you want to go with his.
Sure.
Petition first. But he did have enough valid signatures. What was in question was each of the dates where he dated it with his signature was after the signatures were collected
Gotcha.
on the page. So he was here to, if you had any questions for him regarding that.
What was that date supposed to be?
It would be before any of the signatures were collected.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be your
That's
date,
my
you
oops and
filled
my
it all in and
oops.
declared, hey, I'm running for this office. And then you date it.
So did you complete the top part
Yes,
in full?
but I put the date,
Before
that-
handing out the petitions?
But you
no, I
put the
didn't,
date
I put the
blank.
date in before the application.
You
I
put the,
completed the top part. But
So
not,
say that again?
I did not put the date in at the top part.
Uh-huh.
I put the date in afterwards when everybody had signed it and said they circulated it, I used that date. All right. Now, that's my oops moment.
But you
Yeah.
had signed it before.
but you had.
Yeah, I had
the rest
signed
of
it.
in.
Yeah, I just put the dates in.
Right,
Okay, now, if we're, technically, you already have a record of when I took the petition out because you gave me a copy of that sheet.
right,
And every single person on there has to sign, so you know
Right.
just about when it was circulating.
right. But what concerns us is your declaration of candidacy is one of those sort of specific things Ohio law takes a great deal of time and effort to say, these are the requirements and so forth, because the voters need to know what office you're running for. And it's a requirement that you fill that in that before. they
Before I
sign.
start
So when
circulating.
they're reading, arguably, they read your petition. Now, we know in reality, 9 times out of 10, it's, hey, can you sign my petition? I'm running, et cetera. But the law says that a citizen would read it and go, oh, sure, I'll sign for him, or, oh, no, I won't. And so typically this would be all filled out, and the date you would put in is the date that you
Took the
signed it,
petition,
that said, I'm telling
Well,
the
it doesn't have-
citizens
yeah, it
what
doesn't
I'm
have to be
doing.
when you took the petition, just when you
Right.
signed.
When I
the
signed it,
petition.
yeah.
Right, and so what I noticed when I went through it is with each one of those, you put the date that that petition had finished up.
Finished up,
You know?
yes.
Yeah. And so you were consistent in your hoops.
Yeah.
Which is a factor on your side of the ledger. Okay?
Well,
Because, trust me, we're probably gonna be looking at others
Yeah.
He went with.
that might be more than this. And we've had this come up
Yeah.
and so forth, because quite frankly, there've been empty things and the staff seen people go out and, you know, put the paper on the hood of the
petition sheet
car
is that.
and start filling stuff in and then walk back in.
I did it on a
And
rolling
we're
basis.
supposed to kind of forget that, you
The
know,
petition sheet, is that a state sheet printing, or is that the county's?
It's a state form.
state,
Yes,
form.
from the Ohio
Yeah.
Secretary of
yeah,
State.
we must use a state form by the,
Right.
you know, by the Secretary of State. And the rules of the road are given to us by the legislature and the Secretary of State. There's your. All right, well, this is Mr. Grandy's petition. I think we've all had a chance to look at it. Do I have a motion regarding it?
I move to approve the petition.
All right. Do I have a second?
I didn't hear it, can you?
Just move to approve.
Okay, I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in
I-
favor?
I didn't hear the motion, so.
We're approving it.
We're approving it.
How about that?
You're good to go.
You're good to go.
You're good to go.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Would you like,
whatever you want to give us, good.
we will start with, we did have somebody for, Belgrade City Treasurer who turned in her petition mistakenly thinking she was on the ballot this time, but she had a 2-year term instead of treasurer is a 4-year term. So she turned in a petition to us and we did accept it, but she's not on the ballot until 25. So she
And
was.
what was the date for the election that she filled in there?
She put the May 2nd.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
So I mean, she put the correct date if it would have been.
if it would have been
if
here.
it would have applied to her,
Right,
but she's a
right.
4-year term.
Yeah, and she was elected in 21, so she doesn't need to run until.
So do we
25.
collect money from
So we
her?
did collect the $45 filing fee, so she was wondering if we could refund that to her. So I don't know if you want to look at the petition for me. We didn't check signatures on it because she's not on the
Right,
ballot.
she's not on the
We didn't
ballot.
check
I
it.
mean, I would give her back her 45. I don't think, you know, the county's,
I guess I-
we're
no, I
gonna
don't
go
think
broke
so.
over $45.
Oh, sometimes.
And arguably, if we had caught it, we'd have probably told her, oh, hey, wait a minute.
Right, we would have
Time
said,
out.
you know, you
Yeah,
don't, you're not.
Keep your money.
Okay.
So at least I'm in favor of returning the money.
All right, I'll.
And which they do
that.
run at different times than the Marietta City, so I don't know if that could have confused the person as well.
It might have, but I moved to return the money.
Okay, second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes.
Then the next one we have here was for John McLeod, and he was wanting to run, as he stated to us here in the office, for Belgrade Council's second ward. But on his petition, you can see he only wrote council. He did not write second ward. There with it.
Yeah,
And does Belpre have council at large?
They do have council at large on the ballot this time and each ward seat as well. So when he picked up his petition, you know, he stated that it was for second ward to us in the office. And then,
But that's not what the voter reads.
but, right, that's not, he did not write that on his petition.
You gotta
And you got the
check
checklist?
and
Yeah, and he did
says-
receive, when he picked up his petition, he received the checklist from us, and when he turned it in, he received the one you're looking at there now, Robin. And, for Ward, they need, 25 signatures, so he had turned in, I think, I don't even think he turned in up to 50 altogether.
41.
Yeah, so. Because an at-large needs 50 signatures.
Oh, okay,
So he didn't collect enough, you know,
for an
for an
at-large.
at-large, right?
Oh, boy.
Problem is that on the record and to somebody signing that, it's entirely unclear that he's running specifically for second ward.
Right.
Right. Because again, if he may have told the staff, but that's not necessarily.
Well, that's not the
We don't have
voter.
anything that says he
Right,
told the
right.
voter.
Right.
Or if he told the voter he was at large, then he's short signature.
Right, then he went in.
Right.
I get a little clarification on that. Are the signatories living in the correct ward?
Yeah, we checked it as that, so it would say on that front sheet, if there were any invalid, it would say the reason there.
Yeah,
Just
one I
two.
think just was NG.
So it would say, out of jurisdiction, I think, if they were in the wrong.
Right.
But next to the signature, it would have an OJ. There's our code for that. So I don't think there were any that were kicked out for that reason, so,
NG's
yeah, in
What does NG
is not
mean?
genuine.
not genuine.
Oh, not genuine.
Yeah,
Right.
so that could be that they printed their signature instead of signing
Just
it.
genuine.
Or, you know, I think we did have someone that just put only their first name. First name. The first name.
Well, I don't know how you get past council versus second ward
Right, that he didn't.
on the
At least have
petition.
a two, or, I mean, it doesn't have
Something.
anything, it just says council.
And I think there were two petitions.
There were two parts.
Two parts.
Two parts.
pages,
And they
they're
both are
both the
just
same.
council.
Right, and I believe on the sheet, on the checklist, that we had them fill out, it also asks you what office you're running for, and I think you just wrote council down there as well.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Right.
It's right in there.
I mean, it's unfortunate that he knew what he was running for, but he didn't write it to tell
They
everybody.
didn't put it in here.
Well, 1302 says the declaration must identify the office sought, so that both the electors signing and the Board of Elections are able to ascertain from the petition which office a candidate seeks. So if someone was looking only at that, you wouldn't know.
Right, if that was the only thing we were looking at, we would have no idea that he wasn't running for at-large,
Right.
or a different ward, or we wouldn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even though his signatures were with it.
Right.
Well, this is the petition for John McLeod, I think is, and we believe he was gonna, based on what he told the staff, he was running for Belpre Ward 2. However, his petitions, 2 of them, are clear that he only put in the word council in the municipality of Belpre. So, do we have a motion to accept or reject?
I move to reject.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes. So we're gonna wanna let him know.
Yeah, that's
And then
sad. I feel
you can
bad about
Review
that.
with him that
What?
the possibility of it, I don't know if he could,
Could he do a write-in? Is it too late to do a write-in?
You can write
See,
it.
after, is he allowed to though,
No,
after you?
once
Oh,
he's,
that's right.
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
Correct.
no.
You're right.
The issue would be whether he wanted to
I mean,
come in and address
He
us
did
at
come
a
in and address
hearing
it.
where he would try to explain. I don't know I don't want to prejudge what he would tell us.
right, when he would decide,
We just, that's what the procedure is if we reject him.
so. I'll let him know, what options he has, and then he can decide
Yeah.
what to do,
Appreciate it.
so.
Okay.
This was also a petition for in Belpre, for Ramel Henderson. And he turned in 63 signatures and we found, or the staff found 46 to be valid. So
And this is an at-large position?
this is for mayor.
Oh, mayor.
For Belpre. But he, it says here the reasons, any of them were rejected. So there were several that we said were not genuine, as we did not think the signature matched. And they'll have that NG next to the petition, or next to the signer. And if it's a red check mark, then those ones are good. But a lot of them were printed. And so then were not accepted because it was not the person's cursive signature that matched their signature on file.
But if they had a printed signature on file, that would be all
Then it
right.
would have been, yeah,
Right.
so, but they would have had a cursive.
And which person is this?
It's for Ramel Henderson.
God bless people.
And a lot of times we notice, on petitions, one person will print their signature, so then everyone after them for a while prints because they think, well, that's what we're supposed to do. But it's, of course, not what they're supposed to do.
Circulator needs to catch those.
Yeah, and it does not at least give the appearance that it's one person signing for 5 or 6
Yeah, we don't think
people.
it's, because they're, you can tell it's not,
It's,
yeah, it doesn't
Totally.
match.
And what does NR mean?
NR is not registered.
Oh, not registered to vote.
For an
Okay.
entirely.
And then WP is they're the wrong party.
Oh, okay.
So I believe he was circulated as a Democrat, so it would have been a Republican that would have signed it that says WP. And that's that. And if you would like any of them printed, I can have Melissa print off what we have on file.
On that.
So this kind of numbers.
how many is he missing?
But it must.
That was 4.
Yeah,
He took, we had 46 valid.
Just because it's
so we would
printed
need
doesn't
4
mean
more to
they
get to
mark it,
right.
because they check, because that made
Yeah,
it exactly
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So if he brought in 4 affidavits
Hmm.
or 4 people,
Yeah, or like I said, if you guys wouldn't look at any of the, if you want us
Right.
to turn off any of the
Look at the-
signatures and see if you think that any of them are.
That's what they've done.
why don't you have the staff give us like
Yeah,
8? That would be
Oh,
double
each
the
one.
number.
So, to check.
Jacqueline for Jackie, I see.
I'm gonna suggest that the staff give us at least 8 signature cards
To look at these,
to look
To
and see.
to compare, yes.
Because, it is clear there were a couple of groups where a person printed, then the next person printed.
Mhm.
Seemed like that was the thing.
Yeah, that seems like
Apparently
a lot of
they were
times
doing
what happens,
Oh.
It's one of those things where the law says signature and the courts kind of believe that means cursive unless your signature is printed.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder,
Is it beneficial to you if you have one of those signatures that you can't read to
have
print the name above?
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's what you do.
I mean, you're allowed to do
You're allowed to
that.
do
You're
that.
allowed to do
You
that.
don't have to.
And they
but-
often recommend you do that, because like, here's one here that's illegible, we have no idea, although, I mean, maybe we look up,
We've looked through the address and we're just not able to find
oh, so you couldn't find anybody that was
anybody
here.
that looked like
Yeah.
that.
Okay,
Yeah, because again, a lot of times we'll even look at the printed W, and sometimes people with a cursive signature actually print their W.
right,
And if, that may help us go, well, it certainly looks like that could be the same individual because of the way they make a W and their address.
so we'll look
is
at,
correct,
so
et
you'll
cetera.
pull some of those cards for
Yeah.
us? Okay.
Yeah,
It just needs to match the card. I don't care if it's
because in the past, the
printed.
other thing we have done is at another hearing after we said, no, they brought in affidavits of printers and said, no, that, I did that, that's me,
Okay,
or
Or
they
people
bring the
themselves.
person in, they brought people in.
right,
Yeah.
Tell us, well, there was that printed name above, so I printed and I got a terrible signature. And we're going, well, we got your signature. So we know what it looks like. And, and then there are peculiar people like me that have about 6 different signatures depending on what court I'm in.
Glad I'm not the only one.
Alright, and then the rest of the petitions here, these ones were all completed properly and met the signature requirements. And you do have a list of them there, it has some yellow.
what's the
The
yellow
ones in
mean?
yellow are, you've already certified them,
Okay,
so we don't have to do them again. They were certified at the meeting before.
Okay, and are the ones that are in yellow, or non-yellow, I apologize. Do they include the ones that we,
I understand you.
yeah, they do.
yeah,
So we have to accept out
so we just,
McLeod and Henderson.
yeah, and Ms. Grandy has been done.
Yeah, so
And-
that works.
Should we pull out the one?
McLean,
No,
you scratched out.
yeah,
one.
we'll scratch out McLeod
Yeah,
and we'll scratch out Henderson.
Who's Henderson?
That's the one you're,
Oh,
they're
we're-
in
Yeah,
the,
that's the
still looking
one,
at
that's
that
the one we're gonna be looking
yeah, so
at.
you're still waiting
Up
on.
on
But what
top.
about, should we pull this out?
Well, what order do you have them in?
They're in order of the list.
You just go in order. of the
Okay.
list.
So we go with Godfrey then?
well, we're gonna have to go through them one at a time, right, to make a motion on a name?
Yeah. you can-
Okay,
So-
We'll just go in
We'll
order.
May
just
as
start
well
going
just, so
All
I
right.
guess the first one up is Mr. Ferguson.
Yeah, David Ferguson.
okay.
So here's his.
And again, he,
And so, so his was completed properly and met the signature requirement.
you wanna hand me another one?
And the next one then on
We
the
can
list
do them
there,
in batches
yeah,
of
is
3 or
Nathaniel
4 or
Godfrey.
something, or 5.
And these are Belpre. Ferguson is for council at large and so is Nathaniel Godfrey.
And again, they put that in.
Yeah,
And they needed 50, right?
yes, they needed 50 signatures, at least 50 valid
Okay.
for that.
So should we vote on each one now?
Well, I thought we'd get
Individually
you like 5 of them. and
Okay,
then
do them
you
in
can-
batches.
And we'll let you, if you want, you
Yeah,
can
okay.
make the motion.
Yes, I'll do that.
you
We could
know.
do, there's like 4 of them here for council at large. and that
Okay,
would be-
that
Yeah, that makes sense, okay.
This is the one for Mike Lorenz for council at large. And then here's one for Penny Riffle, that was for Belfry Council at large. And you have just one more here for
Belpre.
Belpre that's not a ward. The ward ones are farther down, but it's Tom Webster for City Law Director. Yeah, but you said you were saying.
So I think that completes the Belpre items.
Not all of Belfry, we got wards later on.
Right,
Yeah.
but I meant at large, in
Yeah.
that group at least. Robin, do you want to do
Yeah,
a motion?
I'll make a
as to-
motion that we approve the petitions filed by David Ferguson, Nathaniel Godfrey, Michael Lorenz, Penny Riffle, and Thomas Webster.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Passes. All right, next.
And so the next one is, there's two here for mayor for Marietta. There's Marietta City, there's one for Ari Gold. And then from the other one for mayor was Joshua Schlecker.
At the top part's all the same. Well, should we I move to accept the petition of Joshua Schlicker for mayor.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. You had mentioned, I think, that it was the mayor's office of Marietta you had a concern over.
I do.
This is not
There
that
seem to be
much.
two candidates,
Is Josh Schlicker the one you?
No.
Okay,
Okay.
so it's going to be the other gentleman?
Yes.
And is that Mr. Gold?
Yes, he introduced him to me personally as David.
Here,
David
let's go ahead
Labus?
and
well, we're
finish the
gonna
vote
approve
on
this one and then
Well,
we'll
no,
move on
I
to
just
that one.
wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
I'm just going to tell you, we're going to get to both of them. Again, you may want to review the statutes and so forth about what transpires, and I'll probably have something to say here in a minute or two as we get to each of these. So we have Mr. Schlicker. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right, Mr. Gold.
now, this is very problematic because he, on his petition, and this appears on each of the petitions, he lists his name as Ari Gold. And several of us know from our own knowledge that he has gone by David Labus previously. And 351306, Ohio Revised Code specifically states that if you've had to change a name, that you must put both names on your petition. And that has not been done. We have, the fact that he went by David Labus 4 years ago in September of 2019 is verified by a filing he made in the Court of Common Pleas in Washington County where he filed suit in case number 1902 OT 208. And he filed pro se, so he did it under his name and he signed his name as David Labus. As I believe this does not comply with 351306 pursuant to 3501.39, which are grounds for rejection, I move that we reject the candidacy under subset A4 for the reason that he did not list his previous name, which obviously was changed sometime between 2019 and 2023.
Just to be clear, the requirement is that within the last 5 years, if there's been a name change.
Right.
Then, but the petition has to show both names. So that's what we're missing here, so I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes. Now, under the law, Mr. Gold, Mr. Labus will have the opportunity to challenge our decision. Our decision was solely based on a failure to list both names in a name change pursuant to an Ohio statute 3513.06. We made no determination about his residency. So if you were going to challenge Mr. Labus, Mr. Gold, on the basis that he doesn't reside wherever, you should probably consult somebody, because it has to be in writing and presented to the Board of Elections. We could be holding a hearing if this gentleman wants a hearing. And if he were to convince us that somehow this doesn't apply, then the next issue for us potentially is that you're stating you don't believe he's a resident. So we'd want to take that up most likely at the same hearing, because there are time constraints that we're going to be working against with regard to the production and the creating of ballots for UOCAVA voters, people overseas, military people. We start that process earlier than we start the process for folks that are going to vote early by absentee or in our office.
Andy,
So-
I think you told us what the date of a written protest must be.
That's the 17th of February.
Okay.
And we do start, we have to have our UOCAVA ballots that you mentioned ready by March 17th, I believe.
Right. So we have a really tight
45 days
window
before the
with
election.
regard to hearings. And so I'm just pointing that out because,
Well, my main concern was residency. If I can't run for city council, I don't think it's very.
So there's a written procedure, you just file a written
I've got a
protest?
class to teach in 10 minutes.
Okay,
Public speaking.
well,
good for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
hey, good luck.
Well, that addresses my concern, so. Thank you. I
All right.
also go to work.
Just letting you know.
Okay,
I have some follow-up questions on his issue as well. First one is, who has standing to file the challenge?
The protest has to be brought by, I actually believe it has to be
I
members of
think
that
it's any
party,
elector,
as
isn't it?
a member of the electorate, what, right?
of that party, because this is a
Can the party itself?
partisan, can as
file?
well, yeah.
Okay, so the central committee could file.
Yeah, but although it is in the primary, so it could be that he's running as a Democrat.
Yes.
So it would be a D that would
So that would be the Democrat Party can file.
Could, or an elector would be the, I mean, it's what's typically listed as an
As
elector.
the
Right.
So it'd have to be someone again who could vote in a mayoral race in Marietta, couldn't be a,
Mayoral race or mayoral primary?
well, yeah, but I mean, what I mean is can't be a person from Warren or New Mad or,
Okay.
So Val and
it has to be somebody who's gonna vote in that election and so forth, who's gonna file.
So if we're looking at the party, it would be members that represent the Marietta wards.
Yeah, or
It's a mayor, so it'll be a Marietta
Yeah.
person.
Just as long as they live in the
What you
city.
wanna look at is
Well, thank you very much.
351305.
Thanks.
351305.
Yeah,
Tells you who can file a protest in a partisan primary candidacy.
What revised code was that one?
351305.
And we just did 351306.
which is
It's
a
a name
name
change requirement.
That's a name
change
change
that's very
requirement.
specific.
Very good.
Yes,
And
and I mean, that's,
So as I understand the timeline now, he has until the 17th to
Yeah,
challenge.
And I
ask for-
would expect he's gonna, and then we have to give notice and opportunity for people to be heard. But my concern is that we hold this hearing and he's raising another issue that we have, it's not like it's the first time we've heard this issue, but for us to act upon it has to be something that's in writing that's very specific. And it would seem to me that it's only fair to all sides that if there's gonna be that sort of a thing, we take up this, and if he fails on that, we may still have a hearing with regard to, even if he were successful on the name, he's not gonna succeed because he's not a resident. We might, I'm just saying for lack of better phrase, judicial economy, if someone then wanted to go to the courts and say the Board of Elections.
Here, my only concern about that is that, if somebody were to file a protest to say, hey, he's not a resident of Marietta, who goes about the business of doing the investigation? And should we proceed, if somebody were to file such a thing, do we initiate that? I mean, how do we move forward with that?
Well, I think we'll probably have to talk to our legal,
The only guidance we have is that
We have to have a hearing.
we have to have a hearing and
Yeah.
we're sitting in a quasi judicial capacity.
Right.
So I'm not sure that we can't do our own investigation, but it seems like the person protesting is the one that needs to provide as much evidence to make their case to us,
right.
as opposed to us making the case for them,
Right.
Right, that they need
one
to-
way or the other.
Yeah.
Is there any restriction on who that individual or group asked to do the investigation? Can they, for instance, ask the sheriff's department to do an investigation in the background?
I don't.
I've been through 2 background checks of the
We-
sheriff.
I don't think there's any.
We have used
criteria.
the sheriff's office before in investigations.
Yeah, but so how did we do that? Did we ask for that or did somebody ask for that?
I
mean, how
don't
did we do that
recall
before?
I'll be honest,
I know
You know.
for a petition that we have done before, we asked the sheriff's department to do some investigation, but that was for a liquor option, not for a candidate.
Well, what did we do in the case of that candidate? Because we did have one of those.
well, I remember the sheriff going to the residents
Right,
and, couldn't get in, but could look, because it had to do with,
it
was
wasn't livable.
it inhabitable? or
Right, it was
habitable?
not. I remember that. But I mean, who initiated that?
We did.
I would say
And then,
that was
and then
us.
how, what was the, just,
The reason is that the person came to vote and a poll worker, I believe.
Challenged,
at
yeah.
the time, and it was a challenge that voter. So it was a provisional ballot. And then we held a hearing.
And that poll worker did provide some evidence. They had took pictures of the residents themselves
Right.
and provided that.
and so then we asked for the follow-up to verify what had been
Well,
provided to us.
because it came up twice.
Yeah, no, he also tried to run, I remember
Well,
that.
but it came up a second time,
Right.
and so there was an issue about what work was done
Right,
from the prior. And I think
Prior.
that's when the sheriff was out looking to see.
right,
Because again, we were looking at this notion of habitability,
right, I remember.
because you do have in the residency,
Right,
this notion of, I lived here. I mean, just think about your students. They've moved on, but they declare, I have an intent to return. So they vote in the place where they have the intent to return. And even though they're residing at the time somewhere else. And you can have that happen with people overseas and so forth, a variety of occasions. So we were looking at, is that a legitimate intent to return if you went to the home and there'd been no improvements made
all right,
over a space of a year, 2 years, or whatever? Does that not cast doubt upon the person's statement, I intend to return because I'm fixing the house up? But you have done nothing to fix it up. That would seem to indicate you don't have an intent to return that's, anytime in
The near future.
any future, because you've not lifted a finger to, run electricity to the home or, and I mean, there was a host of, heating, plumbing, it was, and so anyway, we had that hearing. So, again, I'm not gonna
I don't know
presuppose
that-
what the claims are going to be, but that's where we've had some people.
all right.
look
So
at-
if somebody were to file a protest on his residency and provide some evidence of that, then in keeping with that, we could, for instance, ask for some follow-up.
Yeah,
like ask for the sheriff.
yeah.
or
I mean,
something.
if it was something beyond, we don't necessarily want our staff going out,
No.
Right,
or asking
no,
our,
and we shouldn't,
our
right,
part-time staff, would
right,
you mind going out and take a bunch of pictures?
yeah.
And
Right, I
so
mean, we don't
forth.
want to,
Right.
anyone's safety to be.
Well, we don't want, and we're the judges, so we kind of like to have, if we thought we needed some investigation, it ought to be someone that's, we're not telling them, we're not controlling them.
Right.
And so forth, so that we're still independent when we see what comes and so forth. So, but again, I'm just thinking in terms of, it may not be, I guess the words would be ripe, because we have not gotten to the point where we have a petition. But my concern is that I don't want to be in a situation where it's like, well, it's too late to hold a hearing on this challenge.
Right,
Because we approved this, we suddenly said, oops, name change, whatever happened. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I just didn't want to be in that anomaly where, the person, it's because we didn't at least anticipate, because we had somebody show up and tell us they're concerned about it, and we ourselves have, heard things and so forth, but it's just not before us because, he didn't comply with the name change.
So what are the requirements for residency for mayor or for city council? If you're in Ward 2, do you have to abide in Ward 2? If you're a mayor, do you have to live in the city?
City limits.
City limits.
now,
There's no time requirement.
there's no time requirement for mayor.
Oh, sure, you can go in around.
And council there
Right,
is,
right.
but not for mayor.
And there's nothing in the Marietta ordinances either, because you can look to your own local ordinances.
They may have a separate requirement.
Specific requirement.
Right.
There's
But
not.
city council folks have to be here a year, mayor does not.
Yeah, and that
But they
issue
have to
came up.
reside when they take out the petition, right?
Yeah, that issue
Yeah,
came
yeah.
They're certifying that.
Because they're certifying that they live there
On the day they sign their petition.
on the day they sign
That's
it.
the
That-
residency.
Take out the
question
candidates.
David had, that
Yes.
date is the date they have to be a resident.
Yes.
Right,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, just a different rule on residency for, because
Mayor
again, the
versus-
city council, we had that come up, I think, in maybe the last election.
It was the one before. You mean the last municipal election, 2
Yeah,
years ago?
last municipal election.
Because we had that guy who
Yeah.
he
I
moved,
think
he was
moved-
moving back and forth
Yeah.
between Reno and here.
Right. So anyway,
All right, we've
We're
already
ready to-
addressed Grande, so.
ready to move on.
Do you want to move on with the list and come back to Ramel Henderson at the end?
Oh, let's just
Oh.
do it Henderson.
Okay, we have his here now. If you want to look, there's copies provided there of, up at the top, it'll say the names, it'll have the signature.
And then do we have to go through and look?
Yeah, and look on the petition.
So which name you got there? I'll
Here.
find it.
Why
Give me
don't
the
I,
address. 'Cause
why don't we hand 3 down?
I only have one copy of that.
2. Are these all separate? I'm grabbing.
I will say.
Here's 3 more. I'm just giving you groups of 3.
Melissa went ahead and printed all 11.
Sure.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Well, let's just find
They
it.
probably go in order of,
when they
When they
appeared.
appear.
yeah, okay, I would say is probably.
James Murphy. That's right here. So
Look at the J
it's a regular J.
and a regular J.
The Murphy is all together as
But
like
the M is, no,
it's connected,
yeah, it is.
as is the rest of the word James, name James.
All right.
And that's clearly attempted cursive.
But it is a unique J for sure because he doesn't put the slash at the top.
Right,
And his address is correct.
No,
No?
well, wait, what's that?
900,
Residence.
Yeah, that's-
What's the?
That's the polling place.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
polling place.
900 Boulevard Drive, yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna say that one doesn't match. Too much connectivity in the James and the Murphy, especially the Murphy.
All right, well, let's move.
Let's move on to the next one.
Next one is Angela.
No,
Oh,
no,
no,
that's not
not
registered.
registered. All good. Douglas Parsons.
Well, it's
Oh,
an
that's
X.
a very stylized signature, for sure.
Yeah.
Even includes the middle initial.
Oh, and the P is
There's no
different
way
too, yeah.
We agreed?
Yeah,
was
that
not
one.
finished?
That one I
You
agree, so.
can't hook that
Right.
up.
Jody Miller. Her J's took up another stylized J.
Yeah, but the rest of it is real similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That looks real close to me.
I'm okay with that one.
Okay.
You okay with that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good
So
with
we'll put
that
this
one,
one
so
over
hang
here.
on to
We'll
it,
put this one
yeah.
here.
Keep our goods.
Yeah.
Very male. Yeah.
No, that's a-
traditional G.
No, that's, yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
the only,
Yeah,
the M is pretty close, but
everything else is very.
connected
very
the
cursive.
A and the
what's the other
Y.
one we can see, yeah.
Mark Tate. Here. Mark Tate the second. Mark E. Tate the second. That's a traditional
Different M,
cursive.
different T.
Yeah, different T,
I'm gonna say no on that.
God bless people,
yeah,
yeah.
that's.
It's hard to make a case for that.
But in this one, what we can do is if he wanted to bring these people in,
People in,
we
Sure.
could do
or
that.
get an
Okay.
affidavit.
All right.
They can ask us to reconsider.
Okay, all right.
Beamer Huss. Huss?
Us.
Oh,
Yes,
S period
Huss.
Huss. I see.
And the signature should be towards the bottom on that.
This one? Signature of voter. Oh, that's not even close.
That's not even remotely close.
Mhm.
Yeah, no.
Ralph McCune.
Here's Ralph.
Oh, now that one. The Ralph is real the Ralph is real, the R
It's
and the
slanted.
slant,
Yeah,
All of
I
that.
think that is enough to match.
okay,
Yeah.
so we'll accept that one.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, so we have two.
Kathy Lott.
Yes.
Where's that L? K is.
K
Bless
is
you.
similar.
Thank you.
We'll see if she
You know, the Kathys sort of match, but the Lotts don't.
Lots.
no, it was not, right? Mm-mm.
I'm gonna say no, but again, he paid this for reconsideration and
Right.
maybe
Okay,
bring her.
all right.
David Lott. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's not really close.
No,
That's
no,
not
no.
close.
That one's-
That's definitely printed versus,
Jeff Walker.
He just plain old printed.
Yeah.
He didn't even
know
try.
Jeffrey. Only, yeah, it's
Yeah.
the J.
9 times that's what I said. So many people
Yes,
have
that's-
that,
that is
have
what
an
happened. I
abbreviated
know.
name and you know the person.
Right.
You don't give them their full name.
Well, and we can take, and if they would write, if the name's Jeffrey and they write Jeff, I mean, that's okay.
Right,
Right,
right.
but if
It still has to
they
be
need to
the
make it
signature.
But I
cursive,
mean, it needs to look like they're, yeah.
Jeffrey. Agree.
This is, oh, Jacqueline.
Well, you know, the W is real similar because big and then little on the W, and that's what you got here. But then she printed the rest of it.
She connects everything in her,
Yeah.
in her signature.
So how many, we have what, 2 good?
We have two good.
He had needed 4.
So he's too
This
short.
was 50 signatures.
So this is the group that if you would like us to reconsider.
That's
They
what
tried to
we
put an
did.
affidavit or
Right.
And we'll
something.
change,
Or have Probably an affidavit, I mean, would be the easiest, but, or they could come in.
Yeah,
So how do you wanna do this? Do you wanna,
yeah,
should we mark
especially
it
if he's
accept
got
on
like
this
the lot.
piece here? How do you want us to?
Yeah, I'll have Melissa change it in the system,
Okay,
her employee change.
so I'll put an A in
Yeah, you
this,
could just put the word.
A and A,
So
on
they'll know
these
we're
two.
accepting, and we'll put it with the.
We'll put it with the
I'll put it
rest
with
of the
pages
petition.
and-
Yeah, and those,
So we put the bad on the front for now.
Right.
I'm just got
And you can
And
then
there's
put that
the-
on.
Maybe sideways or something.
And then, we hadn't voted, did we vote on that?
Not yet.
No, we have not.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
there must be that many?
9. There were 11.
There was 11 altogether, so you took 2.
Oops, 9.
Did we really go through that many? I didn't
Yeah.
think we did. Parson. This would get a little faster than I thought. This is, and Jacqueline, yeah. Man, I hate that, I hate these.
Those can be fixed.
Hmm?
Those can be fixed.
Yeah, that can be fixed.
Well,
That's true.
little effort.
What's the deadline?
They would need to do it really as soon as possible,
Okay.
so.
So should we, how do we, you're gonna be gone until when?
22nd.
So maybe have them come in by sometime or tell them, you know.
Well, we could have them come in at the same time we're holding our, I'm guessing that we're gonna hold what I anticipate is a
Is it a
We'll
hearing?
have
hearing on the name change.
So it
We'll
will have to be
schedule
after the
a tentative-
22nd of February.
Yeah, we'll schedule a tentative, we'll hold a date in case we have something to review, whether
Yes.
it's this or anything else.
Yeah, I think that's wise.
And,
I'm scheduling them.
All right,
So next is vessels.
Yes. We have Susan Bustles for President of Council for Marietta City.
Enough signatures.
Yeah, and hers, she had enough signatures and the petition page was completed properly.
Okay,
And then we have Sherry Hess for Auditor of Marietta City.
same deal.
And that one, yeah, all of these next ones are completed
everything.
properly and made
and
the
the
ballot
names are all
signature.
validated.
Everything's good to go.
This one's for Marietta City for Council at Large, Marjorie Bevins.
When they,
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Makes it easy.
And then we have for Marietta City Council at Large, William Farnsworth. And then Harley Noland for Marietta City Council at Large.
Whoops.
sorry.
No, you're good.
And then we have Kevin Paskowich for Marietta City Council at Large. And then the last one for Marietta City Council at Large, Cassidy Shelf.
And again, these are all,
Yeah, those are,
All
they met the
validated,
signature requirements.
figured out
and, the pages were properly completed. Do you wanna do any more or stop there?
we'll stop there so we can.
We do just have, well, there's just one more for Marietta City that's not a ward seat.
That's
So go ahead and do Paul Bertram.
Okay, go ahead.
For city
I'll do
that.
director.
All right. He just made it. He needed 50 and he got 50.
Yeah, some of them were close. Was that Kevin
Yeah,
Paskowich?
yeah. Paul Bertram. So if somebody signs something like this and they're not registered, do we register them when they do that, or do we have to
No.
do something that's only on the other,
Yeah, we don't
if they
have
do a
to-
provisional, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What that signature does, though, is it's effectively the same thing as a vote.
It would count, yeah, if they
As far
are already registered, it does give them credit for, like time credit or whatever, so if they don't vote because if you don't vote for a long time or have any activity, you become deleted. So this counts as an activity, so they.
So if they register, this will count?
Yeah, well, no, not if they register now, just for
Okay.
people that are already registered.
Oh, I see, so
Right.
this takes care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that, the
All right.
reason for that is that if you have to have 25 signatures.
Right.
And somebody presents 79, you have to approve all 70, you have to look at all 79. You
Right.
can't quit at like 28.
Because it's
because
an
it counts
activity.
as an activity,
Right,
right, so we have to check them.
Okay, so I move that we accept the petitions for Susan Vessel, Sherry Hess, Marjorie Bevins, William Farnsworth, Harley Nolan, Kevin Paskowitz, Cassidy Shove, and Paul Bertram.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right.
All right, so then we have two for wards in Belpre. There's Belpre Third Ward, that's Lindsay Dennis. There's hers. And then we have for Fourth Ward, we have there's two people for running Republican for the Fourth Ward. There's John Joseph Ambrosi for Belpre Fourth Ward. And then Steve Knoll for Belpre Fourth Ward.
Okay.
Okay, I move to accept the petitions of Lindsay Dennis, John Ambrosi, and Steve Knoll.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes.
Okay, and these are for wards in Marietta City. First Ward, Michael Scales. And then we have Brett Alton. And that's for Second Ward. And then for Marietta City Third Ward, Bill Gossett. And then for Fourth Ward, Council Marietta City, Jeff Shingle.
Gosh, Brett got everybody to sign little. Little. I guess that's okay. Signatures are there.
And then we do have, for Marietta City Council at large, that's someone running as an independent, Johnny Grimm. And those petitions are not due until May 1st, but he already turned his in.
Did I miss a vote?
No,
Oh, okay,
I'm just pointing at my watch.
right.
And those do all meet, did meet the signature requirements and were properly completed.
Do I have a motion?
So how do we know that this is, he's filing as an independent?
There's a separate, it's a different petition page,
Oh, okay.
that you don't have to put a party. So he won't be on the primary ballot, John
Right,
Campbell.
it goes right to the
He goes straight
general.
to the general election.
And he's going for at large.
Yes, for at large.
And that means anybody can sign, right? Republicans,
Since it's
Democrats, it doesn't
independent.
matter?
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Okay, so all you had to show was that they were registered.
Right.
Okay. All right, I vote that we approve the petitions of Mike Scales, Brett Alphen, Bill Gossett, Jeff Schenkel, and John Grimm.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes.
Oh, I gotta go get water, he's been in the car too long.
We do have, I actually forgot to bring them in, we have a petition, or not petition, but for Belgrade City Schools. We have their ballot language back from the Secretary of State. So we need to go get that approved, and the county has a resolution for gas and electric aggregation.
I'll be right back.
So maybe while she's getting him, I'll go grab those. And then we also have a copy here of the chargebacks from the November
Is that just
election.
for our review?
Yeah, well, you'll need to approve it, and then it'll go to the county auditor's office.
Okay.
But this was for the November 22. So the total is in yellow, would be on the back of your sheet. That's the $3,957.85 that's underlined. So, and that just includes, for that election, it just has to include the people who had something on the ballot that would have to pay.
Right,
So, since it was a federal and state, or federal state
Right.
election.
there were other things running.
Right.
So, yeah. All right. That'll take a second. I don't really see anything else. I was fascinated by the 44 cents per mile. I mean, it's been forever. The only reason is that I have a federal case that I'm also in state court on, and the state court pays me. I called up their auditor and they said, oh, ours is 6.625. And Washington County's 44. That's quite a, half again as much. And it only came up because we had traveled to Columbus for our conference. And I was just trying to figure out what the mileage was. Because somewhere in the blurbs, the Board of Elections could pick their own mileage amount. But we've always followed the county and so forth. So I guess they must be looking into it or something. Although maybe it's a request from the staff based on the fact that we can do something with it. I think I'd postpone till Charlie.
Okay.
It's kind of one of those things that if it's our policy, I kind of like to have all four of us kind of weigh in. So forth, and we're course, Charlie does a lot of our driving on election day. Hate to hamstring him with it. Maybe park his car in Kadim, Yucatan.
I was gonna say, if you just wanna shut
Oh,
the
you know
door.
what, he sees himself, he sees himself, saw himself, go, all right.
He's, I can assure you, that boy is not gonna give up, because he did that on the last.
Willie, come on, come on. Come out here and play with me.
We can close the
Okay.
door.
That's what I was gonna say, when she comes in, I can just. But here's the information for the Belgrade City School, if you guys wanna go ahead and look at.
That's good.
And this was where they,
And it's all squared up,
yeah, this was,
language been approved and
yeah, it was.
presented.
The only thing it looks like they want us to change, like take off some zeros. No.
Oh,
On the drawing, or 1 mil, I had 1 mil, 1.00 mil.
I'll put you back to the car. Come on, come on, come on.
I was gonna say, if you just wanna shut the door behind you.
Yeah, I know, that's what I want to do.
This is what we got back from the state, if you wanna.
Okay.
Look over there.
there's the change, and here's the redo.
But that's what they want us to change, I haven't got it on.
All right, so what are we looking at now?
This is the Belgrade City.
The city.
Well,
Or
yeah.
for the school district.
Before we get there, there's a yellow sheet.
All right, never mind. Go off to the car again. There's a what?
The yellow sheet.
Yeah,
Right. What's she got?
it's chargebacks for our last election.
Oh.
It's a whopping 3,900.
He is just being ridiculous today. All right, come on, buddy. We're gonna have to take you out because you're barking. Come on. Come on, let's go. Yeah, I know. Out to the car.
I have to get a new BOE mascot.
Hmm?
I'm gonna have to get a new BOE mascot.
We need maybe like a turtle or something.
It doesn't make noise.
Yeah. It stays in a aquarium.
Well, I probably, if I had small children, would not be bringing them
Mhm.
to my meeting.
Yeah.
Just an observation. And the only pets we had were fish, and they were in our pond. And I don't think they'd appreciate the transit,
No.
nor to stay here. So it wouldn't have never occurred to me to bring a,
Right.
one of the koi, or our oversized goldfish. Did learn a valuable lesson about those. We had whiskey barrels that we used, with a liner, and it ran over it to make noise, but it would occasionally drip back. And believe it or not, whatever was on that whiskey barrel killed 30 of our fish.
Oh goodness, that's terrible. 30.
I mean, they came out and they're all floating, scooping.
So what is that? How does that?
Maybe they got too
The
drunk.
chargebacks go into the general fund.
Right.
They were created just for the purpose of, well, not created, they were charged only for those folks. Since we had an otherwise election,
Right.
there's a very slim number of things that we can charge back for. And so I think they came just under 4,000.
So it's under 4?
So we just need a motion to approve the chargebacks.
Mhm.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And then we'll sign.
All right, and then you need a signature on mine here.
If you want to do this one, because it's not from.
And this is for the,
It was for the November 8th general election last year in 22.
all right, and these are separate things, right?
Yeah, there's for ballots,
Okay.
basically it was just for ballots this time, for election day ones, absentee, and for the test deck.
For which election? And this is for the,
It was for the November last year.
The general.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was like for township issues or schools or whatever?
Yeah, so Belfry City School had, and then if there was township levies.
And then the township levies, okay. So when we say $3,957.85, that doesn't mean that that's going to one place, it's like the
No,
amount
that's divided up
that's
between all
divided up
of us.
between the, okay.
Yeah.
This is the Belfry.
And this is the proposed
They
issue.
just had some edits they wanted to take off.
Yeah.
See those. So that's all that was. Just need to approve that.
Yeah, we just need a motion to approve the ballot as to that election.
I'll move to approve it.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And then we have here, I don't have the ballot language for it yet, but we have the, for the county, this one is the natural gas aggregation. And there's the electric aggregation, and this is for the county. They do have opt-out provisions. And that's listed in there, the revised code sections of those are.
And this is their resolution.
Yeah, it's the resolution passed by the county commissioners.
Right.
And they were turned in with, by the deadline.
Now, does this have, on the,
So do we
I know
approve
voted on
them
this,
as
but do we have
Yeah,
auditors
pending
thing yet?
pending
Didn't we?
confirmation of
From the-
language?
Yeah, from the Secretary of State.
Is it here?
No, that's just where the state told us,
State said it was okay.
yeah, with those edits.
Remember, because didn't we have an issue before with the auditor giving the wrong date?
That wasn't for the school levy, that was for.
Okay, that was for something different,
Yeah, I think
okay.
it was for a fire levy.
So for this one, they don't need anything like that?
Yeah, or
the
those ones
school
are okay, they have an auditor
They-
certificate, but they were okay. There's one in there.
Okay,
Actually, I think
all right,
they-
I just didn't see it, all right.
This is, the
This is
two
the-
different ones from the commissioners for electricity and natural gas aggregation.
And this is to go on the ballot.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that'll
we're
be
going
down
to
the
approve
line.
it, just subject to revision by the Secretary of State. Both of them.
Because they have not gone through that process yet.
Right,
Right.
like this one did.
All right, I move to approve the resolutions authorizing electrical aggregation and natural gas aggregation.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes.
All right, then we have worked on we have it on listed on the agenda here, the NCOA, which is National Change of Address is what it stands for. And we've worked on that, we do have a few letters to go out in the mail, they're out front here.
And that'll complete it.
Yeah, and that'll complete it, and part of that was also, there's a supplemental process where people do become deleted, people that haven't responded to these letters we've mailed out previously to them, and they haven't either signed a petition or voted or had any other activity. So those were deleted yesterday, pursuant to the Secretary of State. Then you've already approved the chargebacks. I don't know if you wanted to go ahead and talk today about mileage.
I was gonna wait until we had all four of us.
Okay. We do currently follow the county policy, which is 44 cents per mile.
That's the county mileage rate?
And I did check, and that's still what they're using.
Hmm.
An update on the security directive, that is complete. We have, and if you want to look, we talked about it just a little bit before we moved the cameras. I think you've all seen where the cage was installed and the new server rack is there. The only thing we do still need to do is move the Secretary of State's computer into the cage, which I thought about maybe purchasing a desk for it. Maybe, I thought maybe a desk that would be big enough, maybe like an L shape, so that we could put everything on the same desk. That would be the computers that are already in there, and that's the election management computers, plus the Secretary of State's one. And then it would hold the printer that we have in there also for the reports.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think go ahead and start looking, see what you can come up with.
so when I
Again, my 2 cents
We're
worth
just
is.
wanting a table, right? I mean, or do
I
we
thought
need?
like maybe a desk that had like a back to it. When I look for it, they call it kind of a credenza or
Yeah.
whatever, but
Okay,
so that
Something that goes up in
Something
the
that has
air,
storage,
so that you
right.
got
For
storage
storage.
as well,
yeah,
and you can get things out of the way.
right, to get them
necessary.
kind of up and running.
Right.
Okay.
So that I can show like a picture of.
Yeah, and just send it around to us and so forth, because we know we gotta get that other one in there.
Yeah, and I think the only thing left there is for summer conference, it will be again at the Easton Hilton, like it was last year. They are saying only 6 people per county can attend,
well, I can make that easy because I'm gonna be in Alaska.
so.
Oh,
Now I forgot to give you guys the printout, but they do have now where you can do some training online.
Oh, that would be
The
great.
Secretary of State, and I think it was 7.5 credits.
Okay,
So with the winter conference, that'd be enough, that you guys, because it's, I think, 8 credits that you
you
need
know, I missed
altogether.
some of the winter.
So you have enough.
So I'd have to do online.
Yeah,
I don't know, how many
especially
do
if
you
you
have
don't
to
want to
have in a
miss.
year?
I think it's 8 is what you have to have. But that was 7.5, so plus, what
See, I
you
didn't
had
go to
for
all
winter
that, so I
already.
missed out on some of that. I was being honest.
No, you did good.
But I have 2 or 3, I probably have 2 or 3
From that, yeah.
from that.
So that would give you
So that
enough.
would give me enough.
Yeah, if you.
And are they're gonna send out something about that?
They sent out a weekly reminder that we get, so I can forward that to you guys.
Okay.
And it has a link on there that you click to.
And then,
To get to
of course, I brought my thing because we got reappointed, but, they never offered the new member training to me probably because I was filling a vacancy and so I was.
Maybe, but I would have thought they still would have,
Well, if they did, I didn't
yeah,
see it.
I can ask them.
Yeah.
Now the next meeting we already have set up for March 2nd.
yeah, but we need our
But why would it be March
February
2nd?
meeting.
Yeah,
Why would that be March 2nd? That's not our normal meeting day.
because it's the reorganization.
Okay.
We have to do it early.
Well, so, and I will, just so long as it will be done by 10.
So,
Because I have a training, I have to be in Columbus at 1
so,
I'm doing a training.
yeah, so I think that's, as long as we know what we're.
It takes you 3 hours to get there.
Well, I'm a trainer. I wanna be there a little early,
Yeah,
make sure the
so-
equipment is right, and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Well,
Right.
Not let them have a
on a
hissy fit.
bad day, it takes me an hour and a half.
Okay, our potential hearing date.
Oh, yeah, well, let's set that.
23rd or 24th?
Of February,
Yes.
let me look.
We will be, Ryan from RBM is coming on the 23rd and the 24th to work on our coding for the ballot. But he can be here and we can still have a meeting.
So are you anticipating on March 2nd, our reorganization meeting, that we can vote on
We
the
should have a
ballots?
preliminary, yeah, for us to go
All
over.
right.
So I could do.
So the 24th might be good, because that'll give him the first full day on the 23rd for us to.
I could do I can do the 24th.
I can do either one.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so 24th.
So
Yes,
it's
I
the
can.
24th at 8:30?
And that's for a potential hearing,
Yeah,
assuming one is
If there is
requested.
one.
And if
Yeah.
there is a challenge documentation, what date would you like to have that before the 24th?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
yeah, absolutely.
So is that gonna be a day before or a week before?
As soon as it gets
We
here.
won't know.
We won't know,
Until
yeah.
we know that there is a protest.
Right.
Then we'll send a notice out, and we can say in that notice by when we'd like any evidence, or whatever the parameters are.
Well, my
For the
2
hearing,
cents worth
but-
is considering we've selected these dates, I'm anticipating someone's gonna file a protest on the basis of residency. I'm just gonna anticipate it, rightly or wrongly. Why wouldn't we hold that on the 24th without regard to the other issue? We just do one first and then the second,
You mean our
if we had
reorganization?
to. I mean, because let's say he
So the
doesn't.
reorganization
you know.
is the second.
If he doesn't file, then that date goes away completely.
So you're saying have our reorganization meeting on the 24th?
I don't know that we can.
No, we can't do that one.
We
because
can't
that's-
do that.
reorganization.
It was between.
I just think
We
that-
have a hearing on the 2nd.
We set the 24th aside for the name, the failure to put the name on it.
Okay,
That's what I'm thinking. So if we get also, the other part of it,
The address.
I would be saying to those people, show up at 8:30, February 24th, and pending a resolution of the name change, if necessary, we'll go into that,
Into the address.
right? Or in an abundance of caution, we're gonna hear it, should some court say our name change is wrong.
well, see, I think if somebody files, I think we should just do that.
Yeah,
Do it all.
Do it all in the same day.
but I'm just thinking the 24th, rather than trying to pick yet another, 'cause it's
No,
just too
no,
much.
let's just do it all on the 24th. I've got all day.
So as soon as you get that,
that.
if you were to get a
We
challenge
need to
on
get a
that basis of
report,
residency,
right?
just send out the notice that it's gonna be for the 24th.
And we'll need a court reporter. We should identify a court
I said
reporter
I would
now.
get a court
Right.
reporter, so today I will go ahead and schedule someone tentatively for that date.
Okay.
Who does that locally anymore? Anybody?
We use someone out of Parkersburg.
Okay.
I think she's out of Parkersburg. There are two, my office uses.
Didn't know.
Yeah, gee, I could get that lady that I had at my last deposition in Columbus who used to date Ronnie Burnler.
Okay, next,
I think that was, everything, unless any of you have anything else.
We're good.
Okay, so the second is our reorganization. So are we going to have a meeting on the 8th then or not?
Of
No.
March, no.
No,
Okay. so-
hopefully that we can do all of it at that time. Okay, so we have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Good work.
Okay.